Welcome back to another TubOpinions, everyone. With these games coming out lately, right? A lot of fighting games have been coming out lately, and it seems to be the case that execution, as in performing combos, movement options, etc., have been getting easier. Well, as you can see today, we're here on Easy Street, and I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Bring on the easy execution. I do have a few reasons why, other than I'm lazy and I don't want to practice things I've been doing at a tournament level. I've been practicing this stuff for like 12, 13 years at this point. I'm an old man. I'm an old boomer, and I just don't really have I don't want to say the drive, but I don't have the time to spend 6 hours every night grinding out execution. Anyways, like I said, this isn't all about me being lazy or not having the time or however you want to put it. This is about enjoying Easy Street and what that means. So traditionally, many fighting game developers, I should say, how do I put this? They would lock execution behind strong characters and techniques and hope that the difficulty pulling that stuff off made for a more challenging character. Therefore, if only a small percentage of people can pull these things off that make these characters that are very high execution very strong, then the developers would use those things to balance the game in a way. Just because a character has incredible potential doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to reach that potential, right? Where I'm going with this and what I'm thinking is things like Perfect Electric Wing Godfist. How many people can pull that off? As a developer, you're thinking, how many people can pull this off consistently? It's going to be a very small amount of people, and those people that practice really hard should be rewarded for it. We're going to make this move very strong, but also it's going to be extremely hard to do. The problem with that mindset, with making things difficult for balance, is that fighting game players have now, with the technology available, found ways to circumvent the challenges with execution. If you look all over the place, there's several types of fighting game peripherals that you can use to play. Lots of hardware out there to make things easier. There's hitboxes, there's controllers designed for fighting games particular. I mean, arcade stick technology itself has come a really long way. I know the guys at Paradise Arcade Shop have an arcade stick where you can customize like how far your throw is before it activates and all this type of stuff. Then there's things like the cross-up as well that bring the best of both worlds with a hitbox and a traditional arcade stick. There's so many ways to circumvent and just scoot around execution barriers that balancing a game around that isn't a great idea anymore, I think, because the percentage of players that could pull that stuff off now, due to just having availability to YouTube videos and tutorials that just weren't available before so they can learn faster, or using hardware such as hitboxes or whatever your preferred controller is to like circumvent that, go around the difficulties of execution. I feel like with games getting, I don't want to say gradually easier execution wise, because that's not fair. There are games that come out still that have really tough execution but have maybe made things more friendly for new players. I think of like KOF 15. KOF 15 still has really long stun combos that last for 8 minutes and you end up killing your opponent in one touch, but it also has like 2B, 2B, 2A, 3C EX move into super, and it does like 50%. So you don't necessarily have to optimize if you're not looking to play at like the very, very, very highest level, which I think is fine. I think that's totally acceptable that not everybody wants to, win Evo. Not everybody, that's not what your goal is. Your goal is to like do some cool stuff and make people look silly and have fun in tournament. Then you don't necessarily always need to optimize that much if that's not your goal. If that is your goal, obviously you have to learn that stuff, and that stuff is available for you. And again, KOF 15, because I've been messing around with it lately. I know, surprise, Tubo's been playing KOF. But yeah, so I just feel like where everything is headed, where everything is going, I feel like the progression from everything is extremely hard because we didn't really know what we were doing as devs back in, 1996 or whatever. we understand that some stuff should be really hard, but also there should be gradual step-ups to that. So players that haven't been playing fighting games for 20 years or don't necessarily have the time, like myself, can enjoy the game, pick it up and play it, be competitive with their friends that are, you know, grinding and trying to be optimal and win tournaments and so on and so forth. You can still play with your pals. You don't have to grind that stuff out if you don't necessarily want to in a lot of games. There's also, I want to say the majority of games seem to have some form of auto combo. Just to, you know, mash light attack and you get a full combo that does like 30 to 35% or whatever. Uses meter probably. I think that's totally okay too. Again, that stuff is not optimal. That stuff is not gonna win you any tournaments. You know, I think it's totally okay to have these. I don't want to say accessibility. Accessibility is a bit different from difficulty. But I think having easier options for players that aren't necessarily trying to win Evo to have. I think it's a really great thing. So I know a lot of people love execution. I know a lot of people love seeing the really hard stuff, and I do as well. Don't get me wrong. But either way, however you feel about execution getting easier in fighting games, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening to my TubOpinions, guys. I'll be back next week.